So, hi and welcome to a sponsor interview for Mini C++. And today, as a guest, I have Alessandro from Flow Traders,
Hi.
who is going to give us an overview about what Flow Traders is and what they do with C++ today. And with last year's conference, I just thought it'd be a nice option if some of the sponsors want to just come on and, give a short interview or just a short introduction of who they are. And today, as the first sponsor, we host Flow Traders. So, hello and welcome, Alessandro.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. And today I want to talk with you essentially why I like Flow Traders, why I work for Flow Traders, and what are my personal preference when it's about choosing a company, and what are my reason for which I work for Flow Traders. Let's start with a short introduction. I'm Alessandro, a C++ software engineer. I've been a C++ software engineer now for something like 7 years. And in the last couple of years, I focused my attention a bit more in training fresh graduates out of the university. Let's try to understand who is Flow Traders. We are a proprietary trading firm. This means that we trade with our own money and we do not have clients. We are specialized in ETP, that are exchange traded product. Technology is very important for us because we are a low latency trading firm. And now I really would like to move in actually what we do and why personally I really like to be in Flow Traders. There are three main reasons for that. The first one is, of course, the technology and how we use our technology.
Okay, so that is what Flow Traders is, and now we're going to focus on what Flow Traders is with C++. Can you tell a bit us about how it is to work for Flow Traders?
Yeah, sure. So if we want to focus on the C++ side, I think that the most outstanding part is that you're going to work with a lot of very expert people that knows a lot about the technology that they're using, and they actively like and enjoy the technology that they're using. If I have to think about my personal experience, when I moved in Flow, I was actually definitely much less skilled than now. And they helped me in growing. They really taught me how a modern C++ developer should think and should write his code.
Mm-hmm. And if we go into 2020 and just the whole pandemic, how was experience to work for Flow Traders in that phase for you?
Yeah, so 2020, I think that was a very interesting year for us because a lot of things changed, as for everyone. And Flow understand how it's challenging working from home, not having your colleagues around, not having your standard routine around you. So one of the things that they actually put a lot of effort in was to make our time a bit nicer, and they've done that with maybe small gifts or small events organized online. And probably one of the things that was the best, in my opinion, one of the small gifts that was the nicest during this year was a small bouquet of flower that they sent us. This is not nice for the bouquet of flower itself, but because in that very period, that very moment, on the news was possible to read how the local flower market, flower farmer, actually had some trouble, and it's very nice how Flow has done essentially, has spent some money in helping them, and at the same time helping us in being a bit happier during this period.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
So you talked about your personal goals and how you work with Flow Traders and how Flow Traders helps you to reach your goals. Can you go a bit more into depth on this?
Yeah. So I think that one probably the main reason for which I still working for Flow, and I see myself working for Flow for a long time, is that Flow allows me to evolve myself. So evolve essentially every person who works for Flow. when I joined, I really knew very little compared to now. They made me the software engineer that I am now, and they helped me in shape my path and my career around my wishes. I think this is something very important. And I think this is something that maybe does not happen very often and does not happen everywhere. For example, if I have to think about what they've done for me, I started as a software engineer. Then I started to be a mentor for our graduate program. They really saw how much effort and energy I put in it and how much I enjoyed it. And I was able, starting from there, to evolve as the coordinator of the graduate program. So they see your potential, they see what you like to do, and they try to help you in matching these two things. And I think it is just very nice to have an environment like that around.
That sounds good, yes. Now we heard a bit about working at Flow Traders, and now we're going to be talking a bit about C++ with Alessandro. And I already asked you, how Flow Traders was as a employer during the pandemic, and I see you're not in the office, so you're all able to work on the home office mostly, I think.
Yeah, this was actually not an option before, because Flow really believes in working together and working as a team. And as soon as everything started, they actually put a lot of effort in creating a setup using VDIs and VPNs to allow us to work from home.
Yeah.
This was, in my opinion, an impressive effort done in a very short time, because from one day to another, we were able to work from home.
Yeah. Okay. Can you tell me a bit about what is the hiring process at Flow Traders?
The hiring process actually can be a bit different accordingly to your technical skill. It can be slightly different if you are, for example, a graduate or if you are a senior software developer, but overall it's roughly the same. You start with an introduction to the company, so the recruiter will actually call you and you can discuss with the recruiter about what we do and what kind of profile we're looking for. After that, we will send you a test. Usually it is an HackerRank test, so it needs maybe a bit of preparation because it's not exactly what usually we do on a regular basis, but is a good way to understand if the candidate knows how to program. After that, there is a first face-to-face interview, where face-to-face in this moment means essentially on camera. And during this first interview, there are some discussion that are a bit more focused on your background, your technical skills, what is your experience, and there are some challenges to solve usually, some whiteboard problems. After the whiteboard, there is actually the last step of the interview process. And usually we fly you to the office. In this moment is not an option because of COVID. And during this last interview, this last technical interview, the focus is on your C++ knowledge and on the knowledge of the technology that you use. And we really try to understand if you know what you're talking about. This is what we want to see. We want to see a person that really understands what he does or she does, and is really passionate about what is happening.
So you're not only focused on like if the answer is correct, but also like how it's being expressed and how people are reacting to certain environments and problems. That's what your interest is.
Definitely, 100%. And one thing that maybe happened actually once for real in an interview, there was a guy who was claiming how he liked the hardware a lot and being low level with the hardware. So of course, then the natural question, for example, will be, okay, then how this particular thing works in the CPU, or I don't know, what is the size of the cache of the CPU. So everything that you like, then we try to understand how much you like it and try to fit you as best as possible in our landscape, essentially.
Yeah, that's kind of my next question. What what is the usage of C++ at Flow Traders? What is the problems you solve
Yeah.
and the tools you use for this?
So mainly we do only low latency application in C++ because there is a simple there is essentially a simple reason for that. If you use other languages such as, I don't know, Java or Python, you can develop something in a much shorter time. So build C++ software is expensive. Because of that, we really try to focus our C++ usage only when low latency is required. For a developer point of view, I think that this is very interesting because this means that whatever you're going to do in C++ will be technically challenging because it's not just infrastructure code. It's something that you have to build for low latency. You have to build for our traders or for our specific requirement. You have actually a lot of freedom in choosing your own environment. You're free to choose if you want to work with an IDE or if you want to work with Vim. Actually, we have both. I personally prefer work with IDEs, but there are a lot of people who like to use VI. You're free to use almost every tool that you like or that you want to use. We are quite flexible from this point of view.
So Flow Traders is like, accommodating you to choose how to work on their code.
Yeah, correct. Essentially, you are the administrator of your own local machine. You can install all the tools that you want, the tools that are available in our repository, of course. You cannot grab something from internet and install it.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of tools. So you're really free to shape your own environment accordingly to how you're used to work or how you like to work.
What C++ standards are you using on your code base commonly?
Yeah, we are using C++ 17. We are already thinking on how to move to C++ 20. The transition will require quite a bit of work on our side for both the compilation side and production environment. So I do not expect to happen immediately, but I really hope that in a year from now, we will be fully C++ 20.
Okay. And can you say about like what compilers do you use, or is that specific?
Okay, we usually compile with two compilers. We compile with GCC and with CLang. Mm-hmm. Our production compiler is GCC, and CLang. We use CLang mainly because in some cases the warnings that the compiler can provide us and the errors are actually more meaningful than the errors that GCC provide us.
Yeah, it's a good practice.
It's more a kind of diagnostic tool for us more than production tool, at least at the moment.
I know that Clang has some features like checking for errors and the sanitizers, which
we definitely use them. We definitely use something from CLang. We use actually other sanitizer. I think that we actually made it automatic a while ago. Together with it, we can use CLang Tidy, but our official tool for checking bugs, code style, and so on is actually SonarQube that has been integrated in our continuous integration system. Okay, about the tools, I think that one thing that is very important we try to do a lot is actually to check our memory constantly using tools such as FileGrind because it adds a lot of insights and can prevent a lot of problems in production.
So your code base is very modern, uses a modern standard, and sounds like really interesting as a workplace.
Yeah.
And let me finish with the last question. I know you have been at Meeting C++ a few times, and just, how was your experience from being there as a sponsor?
Okay, was an experience. Let's start with that. I will say that was very nice to be there, to meet a lot of smart people, and to see how the C++ community is actually evolving, and who are the people behind the C++ community. Because most of the time, you have, I don't know, this concept of the community, and it's a kind of vague. But then when you see the people, when you see who they are, when you talk with them, when you experience with them, when you share ideas with them, I think that this is very engaging. So yeah, this is how I would define my experience in meeting C++. It was an engaging conference full of very smart people.
Yeah, that's kind of our goal to make people really meet in meeting C++. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to be back in Berlin again, very likely next year.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about making this year's edition in fall again an online edition because it's just too difficult to plan ahead for this year, how this pandemic evolves.
Yeah.
And with that, I just want to thank you for coming on and having the courage to talk about Flow Traders, your company. And I know the trading sector is always very secretive about their secrets. And so just thank you for coming on and thank you for supporting me, C++ in the last years and the previous years. And does that any final words?
Yeah, honestly, I want to thank you for all the knowledge that your conference allowed us to acquire. I think that this is very nice.